Hey my friends, welcome back. So glad you could join me back in the kitchen as per usual. Today we're meal prepping again and I have some great recipes again trying to bring the flavor in 2023. Oil-free, vegan, starch solution friendly. They're all great recipes. You're going to want to stick around. We are going to make a mushroom and barley soup. We're going to do a great kale salad because kale is really good for meal prepping. And we're going to make a Thai inspired peanut noodle dish that you're going to absolutely love. If that interests you, stick around. And if you're new here, hey, welcome. My name's Vicki-Lynne. I do vegan recipes that are oil-free all the time, trying to get healthy. I'm trying to lower my cholesterol, lose a little bit of weight, and just move my body every day. So if that interests you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to make sure you're notified every time one of my videos goes up. And don't forget to scooch on over and hit that little bell icon. And if you're liking these videos, make sure you give them a big thumbs up. It really helps with that whole algorithm thing here on YouTube, and I do so appreciate it. And if you're one of my usual subscribers, thank you again for stopping by. I so appreciate it. So we're going to get into the kitchen and we're going to get our soup going. So let's head in. So this mushroom soup is super simple. I'm just going to show you how we're going to prep our ingredients. And we're going to use about 2 stalks of celery and we're going to dice them. Now for this recipe, you're going to obviously need mushrooms. You're going to need your barley already cooked, but because barley only takes about 10 minutes to cook, you could cook it in the soup. It'll just absorb more of your stock. So just keep that in mind. You may need to add a little extra stock. We're going to use some vegetable stock today. And I've made my own again, just using my scraps. So if you've been here before, you know I save all my scraps from my onions and my carrots. So I take all of my scraps and I put them aside. And when all the peels from my onions, celery, carrots, and I just stick them in a bag and I stick them in the freezer. And when that bag gets full, and also the ends of the mushrooms are really good, it gives a really good umami flavor to your soup stock. Then once my bag is full, or I need a soup stock, I just basically throw all those frozen vegetables into my Instant Pot, or you could even do it in a slow cooker. I used to do it in a slow cooker, or a pot on the stove, any way you want. And I add a couple of bay leaves, some water, salt and pepper, whatever kind of spices you want. And then you're just going to let that cook and strain it. Then you have a fresh vegetable stock that costs you nothing. You've used all of your ingredients, so you're not wasting anything. You're going to need some cremini mushrooms. And the spices we're going to use today are going to be thyme and rosemary. Very simple for this dish. I've already cooked some onions. Now if you've been here, you know I cry all the time when I do onions. So I actually do a large batch and I kind of par cook them a little bit. That way they're ready to go for me once. That's part of my meal prep, that they're ready to go for me. Now we're just going to prep our onions, and I just like to make them bite-sized, so I slice them in half and then just slice them. Until they're all done. And don't forget, the recipe will be down below, guys, and it'll be over on my website. If you haven't visited my website, head over there. My recipes are over there. And when you're there, don't forget to request your free ebook that I have. on meal prepping. It's a great guide, especially if you're following the starch solution, but you don't have to be. It's a great guide on how to plan your meal preps, how to get going. Some great recipes in there that are all oil-free, nutritionally dense, some of my favorites. So we're just going to keep doing our mushrooms till they're all sliced up. So now in our pot on our stove, we're going to use a little bit of our stock. We're going to bring that up on a medium heat. We're going to add in our celery and our carrots. We're going to add in our mushrooms. And we're going to add in our chopped garlic. We're going to brown this now for about 10 minutes. Those mushrooms will start releasing their juices. We want everything to start getting tender and those mushrooms to brown. Keep adding a little bit of water or stock as you go so nothing burns. Now if you're using raw onions, you can put them in at the beginning. Mine are somewhat cooked, so I'm just going to add them in halfway through the cooking. That's just because I'm trying to use what I have. You do the same. Now we're going to add in our bay leaves and our herbs, which are rosemary and thyme. And I'm just going to pinch these between my fingers, actually, because they're dry, just to release the oils. We're going to use 2 teaspoons of both. Give that a stir. It smells really good. And now we're going to add in our stock. We're just going to bring this up to a simmer. And we're going to let this simmer for about 20 minutes. Look how nice and rich that soup looks. Smells delicious. Now we're going to add in our cooked barley. I'm adding about 1.5 cups. We'll just let that cook for about another 5 minutes and the soup is done, ready to go. Stores really well in the fridge. So now we're going to serve up our soup. Look how delicious that is. Now don't forget to fish out your bay leaf because nobody wants to choke on that. Don't forget to count how many you put in. Look how thick, hearty, and delicious that soup is. Pair it with a nice piece of bread, a great salad, maybe our kale salad that's coming up. So let's give this soup a little try. It's hot, but well. It is so flavorful and so delicious. The mushrooms make it super hearty. The barley, extra special. Doesn't need to be winter time for this. This is a great soup. You could lighten up on the barley if you wanted to and use this soup as a preload if you're doing the starch solution. But this is a great soup. Pair it with a good salad, and you're all set to go. So next on our meal prep is going to be that delicious kale salad that we're going to make. And this is really accommodating, kind of use what you have, but with what I'm doing, the colors are fabulous. So we're just going to get a nice little bowl going. I'll put that on the side. We're going to start with our kale. So I'm using curly kale. I find that the easiest to find here. But you could use dinosaur kale. You could use whatever you want. And I am just going to chop this up into bite-sized pieces. And again, don't worry, the recipe will be down below, guys. And the great thing about kale is that it's great for meal prepping because it stays really well in the fridge. And as I chop my kale, I like to massage it as I go. And massaging it helps break down the fibers and it helps it make it more digestible. So if you find that you have issues with kale, It might be because you just need your kale massaged. A nice little massage and put it in the bowl. And then we're gonna just continue with the rest of our kale. So now that we have all of our kale done, we're going to do some some shredded carrot. And I already have some carrot done because when I do my meal prep, I meal prep a bunch of carrot because I love it on top of my salads and stuff. So I'm just gonna throw in a handful. You could chop yours up, you could do it in discs. I just think that great, it looks nice. And then we're gonna add in some purple cabbage, red cabbage, whatever you want to call it. The colors are going to be wonderful. Lots of nutrient density here going on. I'm going to add in some green onion. You don't have to. Just think it'll make the salad pop a little bit. And again, this is great for what you have in your fridge. There we go. In our bowl that goes. See how gorgeous that's coming? We're making our dressing out of some cannellini beans. So I'm actually just going to add the rest that I don't need for my dressing. You could add chickpeas. That would be great in the salad also. But if you've been here before, I don't like to waste. And I figure I'll just add the beans in there. Now we're going to put together our dressing. And let me show you how easy that is. Let's make our dressing for our kale salad. It's super simple. And in our blender, we're going to put in our white beans, some maple syrup, some nutritional yeast. Try not to put the container in too. Some tahini. There's going to be some soy sauce, some maple syrup, now you could use Dijon mustard or stone ground mustard. I prefer Dijon mustard. It's a little bit smoother, a little bit nicer. And then we're going to add the juice of half a lemon. And then you're also going to be adding a little bit of water, not that I've shown it here, to thin out your dressing as you blend it. And then you're just going to blend this together, guys, and you're going to have a delicious dressing for your kale salad. Now we have our dressing. It's nice and thick. We're going to pour it onto our salad. This is a beautiful mustard maple dressing. And then we're just going to toss this together. And this is just going to get better and better the longer it sits in your fridge. It'll last you a few days. But as everything melts together and that dressing sets in, there we go. So let me give this salad a try. A bean on there of the beautiful purple cabbage off the dressing. Absolutely delicious. Pardon my chewing. That is amazing. So good. It's very subtle. You're not getting a big burst of anything. It's just gorgeous. Nice and crunchy, and that's going to stay crunchy because your cabbage is going to stay crunchy, your kale is going to stay crunchy, so that's a perfect salad for meal prepping. So the last dish we're going to do for our meal prep is going to be a Thai noodle dish with broccoli. Super good, super easy, and it comes together in just minutes. You only need a couple of ingredients. I'm using some red rice noodles. You could use any kind of rice noodles that you wanted to. I just thought those would look really cool just because they're red. So I happened to pick those up. And we're going to use some broccoli. So normally broccoli, you know, they just tell you to use a floret. I like to use the stems. Now, if you think the stems are a little bit tough, just take your vegetable peeler and just peel them a little bit, and that will soften them up. You can take off like the hard parts. That way you're not wasting any of your broccoli because the stems are really good. And like once you peel them a little bit, they're very tender underneath. So again, I'm just going to peel a little bit of my broccoli stems off just to make them soft. And I have like 2 crowns here. I'm only probably going to use 1 crown of broccoli. And I'll save the rest for snacking or another recipe this week. The other thing you're going to need is some fresh ginger. So I normally have my ginger in the freezer, which I still do have some ginger in the freezer, but I'm doing a couple of recipes this week. So I actually went and bought some ginger today. So I actually have a cube of ginger. So I'm just going to chop that up, mince that up very finely. While I'm talking to you, I do have a pot of water coming to boil on the stove for my noodles. This recipe does come together quite quickly. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our ingredients all ready. So we want to mince this ginger as fine as possible. And again, grating it is awesome. Ginger is a superfood, great for metabolism, so I am trying to incorporate a little bit more. And then we're just going to slice up our broccoli. So the stems you're just going to slice nice and thin. That way they'll cook a little bit faster. And then just do some little florets with the rest of the broccoli tops. Now I am doing this recipe with peanut butter, but I will leave another recipe down below to use a low-fat peanut butter powder. Just depends on what kind of mood you're in and what you're going for. Both recipes are good. You just need basically a peanut sauce. I have several. I have one that goes with my spring rolls. I'll leave that one up here with my spring rolls and my peanut sauce. That one has like coconut milk and stuff in it. This one we're going to make it a little less fat, and we're going to use a little almond milk and soy milk and water. You could throw coconut milk in this one, but again, if you're trying to watch some of your fat, and that's why I'll leave another one with the peanut butter powder. So now in a large pot, we're going to add half a cup of water and half a cup of soy milk or almond milk. You could again use coconut milk if you had it. I'm just trying to cut down on the fat. We're going to put in our soy sauce, our maple syrup, our peanut butter, and our ginger. And don't forget a pinch of red pepper flakes. Do it to your heat level that you prefer. We're going to give this a stir, incorporate this, and then we are just going to keep this on medium, and you're going to keep stirring it for about 8 to 10 minutes until it kind of thickens. Meanwhile, in a pot, you're going to be cooking your rice noodles as per the package directions, which is usually about 4 to 5 minutes. Now, while your noodles are cooking, on the last minute or two, we're going to put in our broccoli. You can see like that our sauce is thickening up. It smells delicious. I also put in the juice of half a lime. Again, the recipe will be down below, guys, but it gives that nice balance. Now we're just going to toss in our noodles and our broccoli. And that's it. We're going to toss this around, coat everything. Let me serve some of this up. There we go. Easy peanut